Good evening from Vietnam. Good afternoon to you, Joao. Thanks a lot for spending your afternoon to join our program and share your stories and wisdom to our global audience. And on behalf of the listeners around the world, we want to say thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Ha, for having me. It's a pleasure to connect Europe and Asia. It's amazing.
I know, and it would be a lot better if we be able to see you and your son in Vietnam in January of next year, right?
We are working for it.
And like you say, you are global citizens, so we want to make sure that those globalization, the global citizens being able to see one another. And I really look forward to meeting you in person. Meanwhile, I'll have your friend, a copy of your friend here, okay?
It's on my side. I will definitely make the connection.
Yeah. And in preparation for your trip to Vietnam, all right, it's very honor in our culture. And Joao, if we can have you to share a little bit about who you are to our audience, would you please do that for us?
Sure, absolutely. Um, so my name is João. I was born in Lisboa, in Portugal. I am a lawyer that turned into a manager, which, by the way, turned into a mentor, and this was the sequence. Um, I'm a brother of two, I'm a father of three, and I'm a friend of a few as well. It's with a great pleasure that I can say that um, I'm very grateful to life and in all aspects because obviously I think the fact that I was open to welcome what life was giving me, I'm also understand that I was very fortunate to be in a position where I could make some decisions that actually led me to see myself today, looking back as a citizen of the world. My work has been always the best travel agency of my life. Not only for the 22, 23 years I spend in the corporate world, which I usually refer as my internship in corporate world, and then I was released, and then the last decade as well, trying as much as I can to bring to reality this dream called Walking Mentorship, which is above all a labor of love. So, in a nutshell, this is me, and I didn't refer, but I'm 53 years young.
Uh, Joel, you have a phenomenal journey that you introduced to us in about 90 seconds. All right. And that is not fair for our audience. So, this conversation, we're going to examine your life journey, your internship at the corporate world, and the journey of decade, and more to come with work mentorship. Okay.
Sure,
All
absolutely.
right. So, how does time travel sound to you?
Oh, I think it's fascinating, honestly speaking, because I think I already experienced few times, and I don't have any scientific proof for that. But
Ah,
time time is a very interesting way of looking at life. And why do I say that? Because 1 minute or let's say 60 seconds, they are not exactly the same all the time. I've sensed it myself, and I see the people that I work with sensing them differently as well. And I'm always very curious to understand what makes 60 seconds to be way longer than 60 seconds, and the opposite, 60 seconds being like a blip, like just a millisecond. And I think it's very much related the way you live your life and the way you decide to live your life. Since I spend probably two-thirds of my days during a year outdoors, because that's my office is outdoors, and nature as well, and in movement, because my activity involves walking all the time. Um, I noticed that when I reach December and I look back, which is an exercise I really enjoy to do, look back at the year that finished, especially in the last 10 years. 1 year is never 1 year. It's at least two, three, sometimes more than three. That's the feeling I have. Curiously, when I was doing my internship in the corporate world, during those very, I was going to say long, but I think they were very short, 23 years, time was passing really fast. I would reach December, and it seemed that 1 year was gone in a week. And why? Why is that? Um, I refer back to my first words. I think it's very much related with your intention and the way you want to live your life. If you are open to novelty, if you are aware that there is novelty every day in your life, which is very difficult, because once you get into this rat race, to stop or slow down is extremely difficult. But once you are aware of that, and once you are open for that freshness that every new day brings to your life, it's impossible not to feel that time extends, time stretches, because there are so many dimensions inside your brain, because it's everything you know going on, everything you're thinking, and then everything that is new is coming to your brain. So actually there is few parallel time traveling, I would say, using your own words, that happens inside yourself. And as a consequence, I think you lose notion of the seconds passing, but you actually gain the perspective of the intensity of each second. And I think Greeks put it in a really interesting way. They were extremely smart. It's a pity that we lost a bit of their knowledge over the centuries, but maybe we are still in time to recover when they define these two notions of time, right? Chronos and kairos. Chronos, what we have in our watches, right? And that's it. That's the 60 seconds. And then kairos is actually the enjoyment that you take from time, which is not measured in seconds. So a long answer to a very short question, but I think this is the reason why there is this possibility of time traveling in time, because time indeed stretches. And it seems that, and I'm not a specialist in physics, but it does seem that it is possible to stretch time as well.
Joao, is a very deep message that you just shared. And I want to credit a gentleman in Ireland. His name is Ken Hughes. So in 2019, I watched his TED Talk called Time Bending, and he put out a 365-day challenge. And he said that if we do every day one new thing, right? One new thing that we never done before for 365 days, right? And then when you look back at that, the end of that year, time was like, like the definition of time is no longer the same, because it's always new. It's always like, time stretch. And then, so, and when we start the journey of interviewing experts around the world, we wanted to appreciate Ken for that, because that freshness that he gave us 6 years ago, it helped us to form in this movement, right? And it took me 2.5 years to persuade Ken to join the program and share his stories, and for us to officially, really, to publicly, to show our appreciation to him, right? And also, few months ago, 2 months ago, we formed a company here called helloNEWNESS, like something that you welcome newness in life, like you say. It's like we want to help people to see what has done in the past, and maybe it's time for them to look at things from a new perspective, to welcome into their life and rewire the thinking that they've been having. So thanks a lot for sharing your thought on this one. Okay.
Thank you.
In this one, I'm gonna travel with you time far than your internship at corporate. Farther than that. Okay, we're gonna travel into when you were really, really young, and I'll lead the way. When I was little, I was born in the city in the middle of Vietnam called Da Nang City. So if you've been here, if you come in here for 2.5 weeks, probably you're gonna travel different city in my country, and Da Nang is one of the very beautiful one during that period also. and we grew up in a very poor community. One night we have electricity. The next night or two we did not have electricity. So the only thing for me to entertain at night was to enjoy, look out the window and see how bright it is when the moon, showed up, right? And so my first dream about the works that I'm going to do when I'm growing up is to become an astronaut, flying up to the moon and see how beautiful up there. But life did not give me any opportunity to do that. For you, when you when you were born and grow up, what was your first dream about the works that Joel is going to offer to the world?
That's a wonderful question. Um, I'm not really sure I really dreamed about too much about being something specifically. What I do remember, and maybe that's probably one of the reasons why my life turned out the way it did, was to remember because my parents had a really nice summer house near the coast of the Atlantic, not far from Lisbon. And I spent there pretty much all my summers since I was 2 or 3 years old. And I remember every day, and quite often, few times per day, I would pick up my bicycle, and from my home to the seafront will be about 500 meters maximum. So I'll ride my bicycle, and I will stay there in silence, mainly looking at the horizon
Mm.
and thinking, what is on the other side of the horizon? And that idea actually traveled with me for many, many years. And which I understand for some people that might be uncomfortable, maybe frightening. It's the unknown, something that it's somewhere there. Um, Actually, for me, was really the opposite. I always felt it as an opportunity, a growing curiosity, and truly speaking, I think that has been a bit my compass, my North Star in my life. I look at the horizon, and this reminds me this beautiful notion of utopia from South American poet Galeano, when he mentioned that utopia seems like the line of the horizon, right? You move
Mm.
one step further and the line of the horizon goes back one step. You move two steps further and the line of the horizon goes back two steps. So you will never reach it. So why should you continue? And I think he wisely said, well, to keep walking. So I believe that the line of the horizon in my life, metaphorically speaking, either the line itself, either studies, either um, my activity in the corporate world, or what I do in the last 10 years, this is my line of the horizon. So I will never reach it. I know that. But that
Mm.
really keeps me focused from one side. It gives me the energy to keep walking because I have a direction, and enjoying because, look, in the end of the day, whatever you have in front of you, a sunset, a sunrise, clouds, whatever, it's really beautiful. So this line of the horizon, actually, it's a very beautiful image and inspiration for my life. So yeah, that's probably what has kept me walking all these years.
Wow. Let's hold on in here. This is beautiful. Okay. I want to sit next to you at one afternoon for you watching the horizon at uh, that beach, right? And I want you to share with me when you look at that horizon in there, what was in your head?
Yeah, well, most likely if you had your bicycle near my bicycle and we were talking, I would probably provoke you with a thought such as, I think we should go. I think we have to go and find out what is there, what people live there, what do they talk, what language, what do they eat, how do they dress, how do they think, and I have to tell you that um, I mean, I have many countries to visit still, but the little I know about the world and different languages and cultures, um, I realize that we are so much more alike. And for me, this was a beautiful surprise because I really thought in a certain point, maybe when I was very young, that we were very, very different. That we were like worlds apart. And actually, no, no, we are definitely not. I mean, the humanity, let's put it this way, it's something very unique, very beautiful. And actually, it's a pity when we look at a little bit the stage of the world today. I think that's what we are lacking, actually. It's really to understand how much more similar we are,
Mhm.
because in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where you come from. People care about their families, care about their kids, care about their grandparents. People care about the environment without even having the need to put names on what they do and how they do it. And genuinely, I think the vast majority of humans are really good. That's my opinion.
Me too. Me too. And I believe in that. And that seed of curiosity sit with you at very early in your life, and until now that is keep expanding and growing. So Joao, if you look back at your family, if you look back at the family culture, the DNA, or the way that you were nurtured, right? So uh, where did that curiosity source coming from?
Yeah. I have some guesses. I don't have a definite answer, but I was used to go very early to spend time in forests, mountains, nature, because I joined a wonderful organization at very young age, the Boy Scouts. And since my parents and my brother and sister, they were all related with Boy Scouting, so we were very much used from an early age to be in contact with an environment that is very different from a city. So when you are in nature, you have two options, I think. You either are extremely afraid and uncomfortable because you don't know what's happening around you, starting with sounds, shades, and so on, or you become extremely curious and you go there and you find out that that thing that you thought was a big monster, it's just a tree or a leaf and nothing else. So I believe that my relationship with the surroundings, with the environment, with especially with deep nature, has refined my capacity of curiosity because it's endless. I mean, when you start walking around and just imagine yourself at 6 or 7, because that's when I joined this wonderful organization, you don't get enough. I mean, the hard time was when they tell me that was time to go to bed and go inside the tent because I wanted to continue my exploration. And I never looked back, actually. And then I think is a muscle, right? Curiosity is a muscle. So you train the muscle and then you use it more and more in your life. You know why people do things in such way, why they think in such way, why am I doing things in such way. So it gains momentum and then it has its own force. I don't think you need to do anything else. You just keep going. But it all started with, I believe so, it all started with my very early relationship with deep nature.
Wow, wow. See, how about your brother and sister? Do they
Well,
have that relationship with nature like you?
uh, and I think you need to ask them. But from my perspective, I think they do. I think they do. Yes, I think we do share that passion, that respect as well. I do have very interesting memories of being with them, doing things that today seems unlikely. You leave home in the morning and you say that you will return whenever you return. I mean, these days kids don't do that anymore, but we were doing, and you were just off for adventure. And look, adventure and nature, it's almost the same word.
I'm curious, at dining table when you came back home from sitting on silent on the beach, right? Came back home and tell your family about what you think about the horizon, what's there. What kind of conversation that you guys had at dining table normally at home?
Well, I guess that I never hide from anyone my desire to know the world, discover the
Mm.
world. I also have to say that the fact that in my family I had people, especially my grandfather, but also my father, people that had to travel to different places, very far away places. They always brought stories, and these were the stories that were honestly for me the tastiest moment of every meal, because I would be able to be seated for 1 to 3 hours, not only because I'm a slow eater, that's true, guilty, but because around the table, when those stories starting to flow, my mind really time travel. And I thought, one day I need to have a piece of this. I need to put my feet there. My eyes need to see this. I need to smell these colors they are mentioning, and I think this is very inspiring. So I don't think a person should ever underestimate a story they share with others, especially with younger people. They might not react, they might looking at the phone. Actually, usually the ones that are looking at the phone are the ones that are paying more attention, by the way. So make sure that you keep sharing, because the ripple effects can be absolutely endless.
By sharing, you just sharing that story, my mind was like sitting with you for that 2.5, 3 hours of having dinner already. Yeah. Well, see that seed of curiosity of wanting to travel, wanting to explore the world, the people, the differences, right? And then you came to reality in life with a different profession, becoming a lawyer, right? So back then, if with the one that you love doing, you could be an like a tourist, a journalist, or anything. Why lawyer?
Well, and everybody makes mistakes in life, and we can learn it very early. So I had this incredible idea that I would be able to defend all these big causes. I mean, but truly speaking, I think I was more moved by um, kind of a fantasy, I would say, that at that time in my culture, country, in my society, I think it made it a lot of sense. But if I look back in retrospective, probably I would have been way more useful if I would become an archaeologist or a historian, because these are my areas. I just thought, and I think that things are very differently these days, and I'm very happy to see that. I think kids, when I look at my three sons, they have a very different approach. They look at things. They are not trying to be something. They just want to be. So I think that that's the difference. I was trying to become a lawyer instead of being a lawyer. And but then life also gives you hints and shows you ways that you can correct trajectory if you want. I mean, life every day gives you a hint. Every day you wake up and life tells you where to go. You need to listen, and then you need to act upon. Of course, sometimes it's too uncomfortable, scary, and then you decide, I rather stay with my uncomfortable, life that I know, than to switch into unknown life that might be more comfortable, but it's unknown. So yeah, I think that's the reason. But in the end of the day, I have to say and give credit to my university and to my teachers at law school. And this is the credit I have to give them. When you study law, and I guess this is pretty much similar to every country, you are preparing your brain to be always in a position that you have something broken or lost in your hands. Now, from this, fix it. try to prove something or try to prove something didn't happen, but you always come from a position, I guess, that you are not accusing anyone. Actually, that's more the role of the other side of the aisle. But if you're a lawyer, and I have to be grateful, because when you train your brain to fix things, to find solutions, because that's what a lawyer should do, find solutions. Okay, there are many ways sometimes to find the solutions, but that's the training. And then I use it, in my corporate life, and I use it today. I don't think about it, but thank you for the question. I definitely should give credit to those 5 endless years in law school plus 18 months of practice for bar exams. So it was a very long journey.
So when you say that life have its ways, its magical ways to show you, right? As long as you chose, I note it down here. You see me, see up and down. I have a big nose in here to write it down also. So you say that if you want, right?
Yes.
And it seems like you have a 2 decades internship somewhere, that in the quest of finding what you want and responding to the magical ways of life showing you, right? So tell us, how did you, like navigate through the complexity of life and finding that transformative moment for you?
Absolutely. I think we will go forward, but in a certain point of the conversation, we're going to go backwards and forward again. And I'll try to explain, because
Okay.
certain things I only understood them much later, but they were already there. I was just not able to see them at the time the way they were. I guess I was not prepared. So when I finished college, actually, I already had created my first company, and that really helped me, because in the first year, after the first year of law school, I really wanted to quit, because I understood that most likely I would never be a lawyer, and even less a good one. So I wanted to quit. I felt a bit disappointed, and I had a very important conversation with my parents, and I received a great advice from my mother, which was, she asked me if I had any idea what I wanted to do in life. And actually, I said no. So she said, well, if you don't have any good idea, maybe you can find peace to continue your studies, because they might be useful one day to you. And maybe you can use your energy, your curiosity to do something else that you really find the passion for, which is obviously not law. Fortunately enough, and I have also to give huge credit to this friend, he challenged me. Why? So we are talking about probably 1995, 96. He's talking to me about why don't we try to create an internet company? And we need to go back to the years I mentioned, okay, 95, 96, 97. It's nothing what it is today. So I remember perfectly that one day we were at his house, and he wanted to show me something, the internet. And I remember that there was this page loading that took maybe 3 minutes to load the whole page. And he said, there's this great idea. Let's buy a book, because this is a store where you can buy books online, which for me was completely new. Probably people heard of this company called Amazon, but back there was something completely new. And we bought a book called How to Create Websites for Dummies. So that was our first book that triggered our first company. And fast forwarding, actually, this is the way I actually handle to do all the law degree at the same time we did our company. So when I finished the law degree, actually, the company was quite a nice reality. We have grown. We had, quite good number of clients and a good reputation. And then we received an offer from an advertising agency to be acquired. So actually, when I finished my studies, I had my own business, and our business actually became way more interesting. And that's the way I enter the advertising world, because I never been any close to it. not even in my wildest dreams. And then I went along, but I started on the digital side of the business. But after 2 or 3 years, I remember that I thought, okay, internet, digital is very important. I know what I needed to know. I want to try something else. You see, or again, the line of the horizon moving in front of me. So I moved into the direction way more close to the business, which actually took me years later back to school because I honestly, as a lawyer, my management skills were quite questionable. And I end up adding two more post graduations. And then even later on, I made an investment that I stopped for a year and a half. And I did an MBA, an international MBA, which really gave me other capabilities and skills. So my life went on to the management side of it. When you look at my CV, I think people would say, oh, this is so well planned. No, definitely, it was not planned at all. It was just that I looked at the line of the horizon and the line moved and I followed the line. I think this is something I said in the very beginning of our conversation. You need to be open, and then you need to be willing to do something about it. And I think I was both open and I was willing to do something about it. Yes, there was always risks, but look, there is a risk everywhere, wherever you look. And when you measure all these things, I realized that my life is also fed by novelty, innovation, and creativity. So I really needed to continue to feed my growth with these movements. And then, well, then luck, I guess, met me halfway because, you know, there's always these two movements. You go in one direction and maybe luck will meet you halfway. And it did, and did. So I end up staying in Belgium region for about 3 years and working nearby. And then I moved to Central Asia. I was living in Kazakhstan, but working in the region. And then it was just a sequence of different things that happened, took me to different countries to mainly do more or less the same activity. So I was doing restructurings. So do you see again the mindset of the lawyer? Something is maybe not working well, maybe broken. Go there, find a way, fix it. I love it because you can look at two ways, right? You can say, oh, this is a person that comes and maybe is going to fire other people or something. Honestly, I never saw it in such way. I always saw it. This is someone that comes to make things better. So make things better for the company, for the people that are related with, and maybe, and this happened few times, and I'm actually happy it did, that you understand with other people, maybe there was some other journey they could take, not necessarily within that organization, which actually was a positive thing for all. So, yeah, fast forwarding, I mean, this is something that I was doing and enjoying tremendously, but always kind of feeling inside myself I was missing something. And what did I miss? And that's the moment now we need to go back in time, because that was the time I probably didn't understood. When I finished university and I wanted to start a family and so on, I was questioning deeply if what I was doing was what I should be doing. And I was very lucky to have, again, a friend. Good friends are very important in our life. A friend that came my way, and he challenged me to do something with him. And he said, I think you need a walk. And I always walked, as I explained in my activities in the youth groups, Boy Scouts, and so on. But this was a little bit different one. He told me, look, I would like you to come with me all the way to France, and then we will walk along a path called the Camino de Santiago, which, to be fair, I never heard of it. I knew I could point in the map where Compostela was, but I had no idea what he was talking about. And then, together with another friend, they asked me to buy a diary full of empty pages, and they gave me, I believe, 10 or 12 questions to answer during this that turned out to be 1,000 kilometers, more or less, and 6 weeks and a half of walking. When I finished that walk, I was a different person. And the moment I finished the walk, I had this wild dream, almost scary dream, which was, if one day I have a chance to choose, this is exactly what I want to do with my life. There's no name, no business model, no brand, nothing. But the idea was clearly there. I would like to walk because when I walk, I feel at home. I would like to be in nature because it gives me so much. And if possible, I would like to walk with other people and somehow support, not necessarily help, because I think the help needs to come from yourself, but support, create an environment, create a condition that you can actually do a very deep internal work, like my friend did with me. So I taste I taste my own medicine. And that idea kept in my mind for many, many years. To be more precise, almost 25. Okay. And then, obviously, some ideas we kill them, but some ideas we cannot kill them because they keep talking louder and louder. And then your brain becomes a very trouble place because you keep thinking about it. And I kept. And there was a moment, again, luck and opportunity find a way, where I needed to wait between two assignments. Usually that was something that happened, need to change from a country to another and so on. And I had some months to do something. And I just thought I cannot be restless at home, just waiting. So this idea kept on my mind. And I thought, okay, give it a chance. Send an email to the three F's, fools, friends, and family, and ask them, I need probably a week of your life, guys. I have this crazy idea with no name. Can you come on a walk with me? Because I have put together some kind of a methodology, a process that maybe will help you. And fortunately, in that first year, so we are talking about end of 2015, beginning of 2016, I had enough people to do 3 pilot programs. And these pilot programs had no name. So there was just an email, come on a walk with me. And I only asked one thing. I asked each person that was coming on this walk that would give me a very detailed feedback in the end. And there was something very interesting there, because in the end of the program, of the 3 programs, the feedback was very consistent. Of course, there's always things to fine tune, which is great. Come on, was the first time I was doing, do more of this, do less of that. But that was completely clear. But what was really overwhelming for me was when people start telling me, look, Joao, this is you. This is, it seems as like you were born to do this. Everything you've done in your life is, to take you to this point. And that's when things get a bit complicated, because when you don't know what to do in life, you can hide behind that idea forever. But if you know what you have to do with your life, there is no place else to hide. You need to look into the mirror. You need to look into yourself and say, why am I not doing this? Because, of course, you can rationalize. There are many reasons. There are facts that are tangible. There are responsibilities, family. There are many, many things. But in the end of the day, you need to look into yourself and ask the question, if you were lucky enough to find your purpose in life, why are you not doing this purpose every day? Why are you not putting in motion? And I have to say, because I think it's important in a conversation like this, always to be, I love this expression, to be brutally honest and don't put some pink glasses just to look good on it. So I really tried, probably in the first 2 years of Walking Mentorship, I tried to kill the project, and I failed epically because I couldn't kill it. I was trying to find all the reasonings not to do it. I was scared to death. I could not even explain to myself what I was turning into. I remember one day looking at my LinkedIn page, which I was always so proud and say, oh my gosh, look at this, CV, everything, it's in place. And then I thought, what am I going to write now? That I'm a backpacker? That I just walk with a backpack in nature with people. And I thought, I really need to think this over. But somehow I kept on doing the programs. People kept on calling, like, oh, I heard that you were doing this. When is the next one? And I remember to think, but there's no next one because I'm not planning to do any next one. And they will tell me, well, if there is a next program, maybe I can be on a waiting list. And I was thinking, there is no waiting list, guys. Leave me alone. I don't want to do this. So life, and I don't want to use much of your time, but life was always showing me, do it, keep doing it. You have doubts. If you do it, your doubts will become much more clear, which I did. And moving forward, I was lucky enough again to start walking with people that were absolutely critical for the success of what we do. And some of these people later on, especially one, became my partner, Nuno Santos Fernandes, which is one of the persons that joined one of the first pilots, funny enough. But other people that turn out then to become our mentors as well, because we need to continue to grow and develop, and we need people, obviously, to help us. So I give you on a big tour.
Beautiful.
So you will get the full picture. Your question was much smaller, but I decided just to take you on a walk with me.
Wow, it's very, very beautiful, and I really. Who's the friend? What's the name of the friend that 25 years ago took you to France for that walk?
Oh, I will tell you. His name is Jorge Anselmo. He's actually a priest and a very special human being. And he's been one amazing companion in many, many, many walks of life, literally and metaphorically. So I definitely need to give credit to this man that put me on the right track to my purpose.
Because earlier you mentioned about the importance of having friends in life, right? And he's a very special friend. He knew that you struggle, and he knew that he could do something to take you somewhere, and not knowing that somewhere will eventually take 25 years later for you to really live your dream, that you had when you have a 6 7 years old, right? So what made him do that? Did you ask him?
Well, I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. But I have to say that my life would be very, very, very different if it wasn't for my friends and my family. I'm really grateful because friends and family are like angels that are sent to you at the right time to help you. And this friend was exactly that person. He saw how much I was struggling in that moment in life with many issues that I could not be able by myself to figure them out. And, that's a huge inspiration for what walking mentorship is. Because I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest skill you need to be a walking mentor is the capacity to walk, yes, indeed, but to walk and listen deeply to the other. And sometimes listening, it's not even done with words. Sometimes you need to be able to listen the silence of the other. And this is, it's very challenging because to truly listen to another person requires you to have your ego in a really good place, because you realize that it's never about yourself. So I think that's what that friend in that moment did to me. He truly listened to me. And this is invaluable. I mean, money cannot pay this. Someone that truly listens to you. And either or not in the beginning, but in the end, it will become your friend and you will become his or her friend. It's impossible when you have this connection at such a deep level. you forge relationships that will last forever.
Mm. Joao, I hope that when people listen to this conversation, they can find a secret formula for them to build that kind of friendship, because that will take them to the next level in their life, right? So your friend listened to you and gave his support to help you, not once, twice, many other friends also, right? So but there must be something from you that you did, you put into that relationship, you put into invest into that relationship, so that make the people feel like, hey, I want to invest my time to help Joao. So what did you do right?
Again, I don't know. I think it's a good question for them. I can have some guesses.
Mm.
I think I've been trying in my own way to give my best to others, and sometimes it it takes different forms. It can be happiness, it can be creativity, it can be just energy, positiveness, and maybe that's my guess. People appreciate to be nearby people that can give them good things, and I try. Not, it's not always possible, but I really try to give good things to people around me. Um, and I think when you give, it always returns back to you.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And the more you give, the more you receive. It's a win-win game all the time. You never lose anything. You never get poorer. You never lose anything. I mean, and it's an endless source of life. I've seen this with other people nearby that gave me so much that the only way I can retribute is do exactly the same thing for others. It's very simple math.
Yeah. Wow. You mentioned the word I think a few times in this conversation. And Joel, my wife and I, we've been on the quest to help people to improve their ability to think in our project. And we would love to ask you this question. How have you been growing your ability to think over the years?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Quite often people describe me as a thinker, and I can confirm that I do love to think. So um, I think again, you see the word curiosity.
Mm.
Curiosity. Uh, uh, Read, watch. Um, those two instruments have been incredibly useful to me. My breakfast activity for many years in my youth, and some people laugh about it, but some kids, they might read comics, or they might watch TV or play games. I would love to always spend my especially breakfast, because it's the most important meal for me of the day, which I spend more time there, reading encyclopedias and watching maps. I did this for many, many years. I would read an encyclopedia from the beginning until the end without any specific goal, like to learn about something. I would just, like people read books, I would read encyclopedias and just find it amazing. And then maps. Why? Because I'm a very spatial and visual person. And one of my hobbies was to draw maps. So I would be in school, probably paying more attention, but I was not. And I would be drawing, in my books, maps of countries, maps of cities, maps of anything. And I think these two things together, they force you in a very natural way to develop your thinking skills, because space occupies everything. And the
Mm.
more notion you have of space, the more you understand where you are and where you want to go. And I'm not only talking about distance or walks, I'm talking about life in general. It's like having a map of your life. I want to go there. And why encyclopedia? Encyclopedia is the incredible work done by human civilization in the past thousands of years, because we collect all of that. And I'm always thinking, what a waste of time from one side not to use all this knowledge, and what how dumb I can be to try to reinvent the wheel. It was already reinvented. So science, and this is where it comes one angle that not so many people know about it, but I've been involved in education and teaching for more than 20 years. In every country I was moving and working, I always offer my services in the local university if I could, for instance, teach in English. And education is really should be always this portal for wisdom and thinking. It's not about PowerPoints. It's not about repetition. And to be true, I have many doubts it's about memorizing. But I think, with time, many schools, many teachers will get to this conclusion as well. Education is a portal of wisdom. So you need to put these kids, or not so much kids, grown-ups, in the driving seat and tell them, let's go into kind of an interstellar journey inside your brain. So I'm going to show you a few doors. I'm going to tell you what's behind each door, and then you go. And I think this is where education truly needs to evolve. And I don't think there is any other way. When you look at artificial intelligence, there is no other way. More than a teacher, you need a tutor, you need a mentor in the classroom. Somebody that tells you, give me your hand, come with me. And now I'm going to show you, and now you go after me and go further, make it better than me, go further. So for thinking process, I believe that it would be extremely useful that people definitely would read more about the past, history books, philosophy books. And I also advise, read some maps. Maps are really useful.
I think we're reaching to the end of the hours we have, and it's beautiful. I'm not sure if I can spare additional time of you to ask two more questions. How possible is that?
I will have a call in 15 minutes. So if we can do it in the next 10, and I will try to be fast as well,
Okay.
that will be perfect.
10 minutes will be making it. Okay. And because there's
Okay.
two questions that I have. So assuming I wanna take you to one of the walk that you take the people with you in the walk, in the mentioned walking, right? Okay. So at night when people tired and sleep and it's silent, and you look at the horizon after a long, busy and tired day, what message did you talk to yourself?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. Quite often, with very few exceptions, at that moment, I feel the happiest person on the planet, because I am at the right place doing exactly what I need to be doing. All the efforts, all the challenges, all the difficulties, they fade away in that moment, and you reset, and you're ready for the next day to go again and do your best. There is a very powerful impact in life when you realize that you are fulfilling your duty as a human in humanity. And I think this is enough.
Wow. Last question, and I'm gonna pick one important person in your life for talking again, okay? You mentioned about the beautiful and importance of friends and family. You mentioned about your mother once when you're about to drop out of university, and she asked you to continue that, and then you can build your hobby along the way, right? So now travel time with me to meet her at that particular day. And then Joao now go with her and we talk to her and tell her about the journey that you've been having. And if you can talk to her and tell her a message or so, what is that you are going to talk to her?
Well, unfortunately, my mom passed away 17 years ago. So this is a conversation that, unfortunately, I wish I could do it face to face. But to be very honest, people that you love, they live with you as long as you live, and that's our legacy. So I would say that first of all, thank you. That's what I would say to my mom. And most likely, I would continue to ask for her wise advices, because friends, true friends, as I said before, they are these versions of it. It's somehow something holy, because a true friend is someone that doesn't want anything from you at all. They just being a friend, it's enough. I think this is one of the biggest challenges, to become a true friend, when you realize there's nothing from this person I'm interested to gain a benefit or anything, because that's not friendship, that's a different thing. And then you realize, with all the shortcomings, we are so far from perfection, but you realize that with all the shortcomings, I still care and love this person deeply, and I want the best for this person. So I would really try to continue to benefit from her wisdom, because she was a very, very wise person. And somehow, I hope that myself, my brother, and my sister, and our kids, because we have kids, will carry on her legacy. And I think that's an idea and an image that makes a lot of sense for me.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much for this very emotional and very beautiful, inspirational conversation, Joel. And there's a lot of wisdom that you brought into this conversation. And since you said that I can have 10 minutes, even if I ask for two, I like you to end up this conversation with your one piece of wisdom, okay? So that you can share with our audience to end the conversation. Please.
Well, I thank you for the question. I have doubts that I'm that kind of wise person you mentioned. I'm being very honest. I just try to be honest with life. And maybe if there is a piece of advice, maybe that's the one. No matter what, be honest. Be honest with yourself, which is extremely challenging. But once you are honest with yourself, it becomes a lot easier to be honest with others. You don't need to be hard to be honest. You can be kind and honest. You should be kind and honest, especially in these conversations that are hard, especially when people disagree tremendously. And we are living very difficult times where disagreeing, having a different opinion, can be almost dangerous. And this is not a good path, because we should be able to disagree, but we need to talk. And we can and we should be kind to each other when we disagree, because kindness, it's a golden key that can open almost any door. We cannot take that away from the equation. We really need and we should be kind to each other, especially when we disagree. And I think with honesty, expectations are set in the right place. With honesty, people understand who you are, and hopefully you can understand who they are. And I also think, maybe to finalize, that honesty, we didn't talk about it, but honesty, it's a pathway for your spiritual development. because there is no spiritual development without honesty. And no matter what either religion or belief a person professes, but we all have a spiritual path ahead of us. Even if you don't like the idea, you still have one. And that's for me, it gives me always the hope I need to carry on for the next day.
Yeah, this is one of the most beautiful conversations that I've been having over the past 4.5 years, and throughout my life also. And I really look forward to our meeting in person in January, to really give you a big hug from a friend in Vietnam, to give your son a big hug also, and show him that his father is wonderful. And I look forward to it. Meanwhile, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you so much for spending your afternoon to join and share your wisdom, your works to our audience. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much for not only having me, but to listen to me. I really appreciate that.
Bye bye for now. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.